How about it? Let's do it. About 50 bucks? 100. Recognize it. Thank you. Good. That's what happens when you're Georgia. It just melts off you down there. Melt the fat right away.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty and everlasting God, who presides over all things in heaven and earth, come and preside over these deliberations, so those that make the decisions may be guided by your wisdom.
Mr. Blusko.
Fair.
Mr. Brooks.
Fair.
Ms. Gilbert.
Present.
Mr. Merritt.
Fair.
And Mr. Merritt.
Fair.
Also in attendance tonight is City Administrator Greg LaRue, Deputy Fire Chief Alan Bradford, Director of Operations Rich Roddy, and Controller Terry Snyder. And we have special guests, which Chairman Barrett is going to introduce right now.
We have a lot of special guests this evening. Welcome to Troop 55. For Garrett, want to come up and tell us a little bit about your troop and why you're here?
My name is Gary Kern. I'm the youth leader of Troop 55. We are here to earn our communications rep badge, and we'd like to thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming. Good luck to all of you.
There are two announcements. First, please note that the two intermunicipal liquor license ordinance amendments discussed at Tuesday's work session have been removed and replaced with one ordinance on title only for first reading. This is to allow time to consult with Tim Hammond to simplify the language so that it's more easily understandable. Second is the resolution relative to closing out checking accounts and reopening them at another bank, which also was on Tuesday's work session agenda, have been removed from the agenda pending further review. The city will go through the RFP process related to this particular topic. Does anyone from the public wish to comment on legislation pending before council tonight?
Now that we've taken everything off the agenda. Mr. Troy, come on up.
I couldn't hear that picture, sorry. I just wondered what happened to the, point in the newspaper, there was business about the transfer of the checking funds. Is that on the,
No, that has been removed from the agenda. Mr. Ryan just stated that's been removed from the agenda. Is going to be going through the RFP process that we just did.
it won't be till next meeting.
I don't know when it's going to go through the process.
I just one question, so it's just what's on here, then, right?
Yes, sir.
The resources for this project, this 5-year plan is $37,500. Is that going to be taken out of the general fund, or is that another source for that? Is that 37,000? Is that coming from the general fund, or is that
General fund.
general fund? Is there any indication whether that, as far as the specifics go on this project, is there any details, has there been any details released on this, or will there be details released on it? Or, I mean, in terms of, does the public have any input in terms of, I know that this sort of thing on the community development funding, the public has to say, but does the public have any input on this?
This is simply allowing the city to apply for the grant.
Oh, just to apply for the grant. So once the application is approved, assuming it will be, then there will be a proper procedure to get input in terms of the,
I'm sure there'll definitely be public input, whether it's at a city council meeting or a separate meeting.
and this plan can include almost anything then, like improvements to
The plan,
infrastructure or what?
it's everything involving city responsibility, infrastructure, city government, budget, everything.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on pending legislation?
Hi, Bob. How are you, Doctor? Good, thanks. I like that man.
Okay, the first order of business is consent agenda resolutions. Motion second and vote is needed.
Eric? Second.
Mr. Beluska.
Yes.
Mr. Brooks.
Yes.
Ms. Gilbert.
Yes.
Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
And Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next is the city ordinance. Motion second and vote. Formal business.
Mr. Belisca? Hold on one second, sure.
I just want to remind folks that, the residents that, tomorrow starts Earth Day, which in Wilkes Barre gets Earth Week. I would like to encourage you to get out and clean around your properties, clean the streets, make your neighborhood a little better, clean it up. There's a lot of groups in Wilkes Barre that are now doing that. If you have nothing to do, find one. A church group, a residents association. Get out and help improve your neighborhoods. Thanks.
Yes, I just want to say that I'm very pleased with the administration that they are going through the RFP process on this banking checking account issue. Our purpose is to ensure confidence in government, and you need to know that. And I think fair and open process in bidding for city business is the way to go, so I'm glad to hear that that's happening. Also, I want to congratulate Tyler Ryan, who I think is doing a wonderful job in communicating the information that comes out about street repaving. And I hope we can get a little bit better about communications about Kirby Park. We got lots of questions about down trees, and I would assume that they're dead trees needed to be taken down, but I kind of wish we also knew about that. And also in the attendance in the room is the Rolling Mill Hill Residents Association, which was formed 4 months ago, and last night I'm pleased to announce that they elected officers. The president is here, Linda Joseph. I see the secretary here, Polly Ronsky, and they elected Frank Blum also as the vice president. And my understanding is they're doing cleanups of Spruce Park and Ironman Park as part of the Great American Cleanup as well. I thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Wonderful, thank you. Let's go down to Ms. Gilbert.
Just two things. The first one, I had a meeting with Lou from the IT department to talk about videotaping the council meetings, and we came up with 3 different ways that we can approach the situation. He's going to find out which one is the most economical for the city and also the easiest for us to implement. So I just want to let you guys know that everything is moving along with that. Second, I know a couple months ago, Timothy Pierce submitted a proposal to purchase a piece of land behind his property. The city came back and it was about $1,200 they wanted him to buy it for. And it's, I think the total, let me see here, it's 0.01 acres. So for $1,200, he just thought that was a little absurd. So he resubmitted a proposal and he wants to purchase it for significantly less than $250. I just wanted to run this by council first. I think we're gonna put it on up for a resolution at the next meeting, but I just wanted to get all your thoughts regarding this proposal.
And that was a lane at the rear of home, or that was?
No, this is just a small piece of land behind his yard. And it would go on the tax rolls. The city would have no liability if we did purchase the property.
So no use to anyone else?
No, there hasn't been any other interest in it.
That'll be coming up on the
At
next.
the next meeting.
And I know that you were involved and others were involved in the minutes being now on.
Yeah, that's,
That is great too, so we are becoming even more transparent, which is all good. Thank
minutes of the meetings are ready during next meeting. The very next meeting, I believe, is scheduled July or August. We'll have. Thank you, that's it.
John Hosky, we're gonna go into the public session.
When you least expect it.
John Sahosky, Almond Lane. Could somebody, Butch, I think this would be for you, Barney Farms Park, like the one ring at the, like the backboard and the whole rim thing, it's kind of bent, so like one of the courts is good and then, you know, like one of the halves isn't good. You know what I'm saying, like further backside, closer to the backside of Barney Farms. I don't know if you guys could, take a look at that. I have a question. Why can't you pay parking tickets with the credit card here? Like, we have all the setup stuff for the parking tickets, but you can't pay with the credit card. Anybody on that?
We're very close to that.
Could you stand up, please?
Is there, John, I know you probably do other things too, so it wouldn't.
Yeah, that's
it?
yeah, that's all I have about that.
But we are working on that.
Yeah, because everything, yeah, I've seen all.
We purchased the registers for downstairs, now we just have to incorporate the technology. So we're working on, we did the RFP for it already to the company, so it's just a matter of incorporating it.
Okay.
It'll be online and also you can pay with credit card when you stop into the office.
Okay, that's it, thank you.
Ray, I assume you can do it over the phone too, you're out of town.
You can do it over your iPhone.
Cut.
On the parking tickets, Mr. Booth, I know we have an app for meter parking. How is that working out? Has that been successful or?
Yeah, we have a couple glitches, but for the most part, it's been very successful. We have a good user rate. I can have our IT right up there. I couldn't tell you exactly how many users we have on. We'll look it up for you very easily to get to that. But yeah, it's been successful so far.
Will we ever use, are we considering using parking meters to take credit cards or just the app?
It's very costly to do that.
It is.
It is.
Are there grants?
What's that?
Are there any grants available?
We haven't found any. When we did the RFP process that got us on the Tango, this was the cheapest alternative to allow other ways of payment. There was a very heavy investment as far as purchasing all new equipment that took credit cards.
Could we try that? Maybe we can consider.
I can show you that information.
Oh, I'm sure it's expensive, but maybe on a trial basis somewhere down the road, we can be looking at it. I think a lot of people are more comfortable doing that than, I know I am personally, but I see it other places, but I understand that cost can be sharp.
Yeah, I'll get you the information. Okay.
While we're on that topic on parking, this is just a suggestion, great. I know we're issuing tickets for people who are parked, say, in the wrong direction. Perhaps a warning can be done the first time and the second time they get a ticket. I'm getting a lot of feedback by people saying, oh, now I know they're already breaking the law, but perhaps we could have a warning and then ticket them afterwards, as a suggestion.
I'll run that by the mayor.
Robert Thompson? Did I mispronounce your last name? No.
Could you pass these out to each of the council members, please? Robert Fountain, Lawrence Street in South Wilkes-Barre. I'm going to bring up some questions and some suggestions for the city. Many people are not going to like what I have to say, but I've been holding off for quite a long time. And normally I come up and complain about the weeds in the gutters and the sinking culverts, but today I'm coming up with some ideas, I hope, and suggestions for the city to save some money, which we direly need. I'm going to mention several questions that I'd like council or the mayor's office to answer in the next 2 to 4 weeks. I will be back in 2 weeks and 2 weeks after that.
For the people here, I'm going to leave some copies of these questions here on the podium. There's only 10, so if you could share them. Can the offices of finance and controller be combined? They're both financial offices. They both deal with the expenses of the city. If not, why? Can the offices of planning and zoning be combined with urban development? If not, why? Can the offices of health, maternal and child care, and communicable disease control be combined? It's all health related. Why cannot that be combined? Can all retirees and active 65 plus employees currently on group coverage be converted to private Medicare? If not, why? The savings potential for the city would be nearly $500,000, $457,000, taking 65-year-olds that are still on the group plan, taking them off and putting them on individual Medicare. It would cut the cost of the city in half. Can all employees pay 10% towards health care? That would save $600,000 to $650,000. Or can they just pay 5% towards health care? That would save $300,000 to $325,000. Now the bad news. Can the following positions be eliminated or taken over by other city personnel? If not, why? City administrator, use the mayor. This has been a strong mayor government for years, and I know there's always been a city administrator. But the mayor makes decisions, and the city administrator does the talking. Why can't the mayor do the talking as well as make the decisions? Administrative assistant, $49,500. Use the Department of City Administration at $25,000. The deputy, city administrator at $25,000 salary. Capital Projects Program Manager, $45,000. Use the Urban Redevelopment Office. Helpline Coordinator, hire an answering service. Fiscal Office Payroll Revenue Office, $50,400. Use the Accounts Payable at $38,000. Assessor, $40,000. Convert and use the county department. There's been talk about using the county assessment. Why hasn't the city done that? Start shedding some of the salary from the assessor's office. Deputy Controller, use college interns. And I'm going to stop there. We have a tremendous resource in Wilkes University and King's College. Why isn't the city, instead of the pilot program, constantly badgering the colleges for money? Why can't they have the colleges provide interns for the city at their expense, maybe for one college credit? Have them work for the auditor's office. Have them work for the health department. I'm sure there are majors at the colleges that fit right into the departments of the city. An auditor, use college interns. Paralegal, use college accounting department intern. An IT director at $77,000. Use college IT interns. Bioterrorism coordinator, I still can't figure that one out. $56,000. Use college departments. Health director, $77,500. Use the medical director in that office for $33,600. City revitalization coordinator, $49,000. Use urban redevelopment. Urban redevelopment administrator, $92,000. Use the program manager who only gets $47,000. Why can't they do the job? And lastly, a community support director at $41,000. Again, use the urban redevelopment office. The total savings, if that's done, is $650,000 to $700,000 plus the health insurance expense, which is probably another $650,000. I'm from the sales background, and when I deal with businesses, I ask them, how do you make money? They either increase sales or they cut expenses. For the city to increase sales, there's no sales. You increase taxes, and nobody wants that. So the only other way is to cut expenses, and that's what I'm proposing. So these questions, and I'm going to leave copies here if anybody wants to come up with one, is to give me answers to these first 6 questions, or even the whole page. I'll be back in 2 weeks, and I'll ask the same questions, or I'll just say, are there any answers provided for any of these questions? Any comments, please?
The retirees over 65, that's currently being done, isn't it? We've
get you the exact answers on that.
I mean private Medicare, where they actually buy us, they go for a Medicare supplement. I sell these plans. I'm not here for that, believe me, and I don't want to be affiliated with any of that. But you can go from a group Medicare plan to an individual Medicare plan. I think the city is paying $550 a month for an individual plan. They could pay maybe $160 on a private Medicare plan. There's a lot of ways to save money, folks, and the city's not doing it. The idea about the college interns, has anybody gone to the colleges and asked them about that yet? So again, thank you for your time. I'll be back in 2 weeks for any answers. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
John Ambrose? Evening.
Council Chairman, Mr. Barrett, council members, citizens of Wilkes Barre and Troop 55, good evening. My name is John Ambrose. I work for Waste Management, and I'm here tonight to ask your help in having the city's waste disposal contract advertised and put out for public bids. My colleagues Linda Emery and Donna Lucy and I have been having a conversation with the city administration about bidding your disposal work for more than 4 years. I'm sorry, for more than 2 years. According to our information, and it's been provided by the city, your disposal agreement with Keystone Landfill in Dunmore expired no less than 4 years ago. The information I am providing to you tonight includes correspondence between Waste Management and the city administration requesting that this service be placed out for public bid and outlining ways in which public bidding might result in lower prices and costs and savings for Wilkes Barre taxpayers. We believe the savings could come in the form of lower per ton disposal fees that we estimated in 2014 could save the city about $95,000 a year. Reduced fuel and truck maintenance costs, which in 2014 we estimated could save the city $31,000 a year. And reduced personnel time. The package of information I'm going to provide tonight includes our correspondence with the city and my contact information. I thank you for your attention and your assistance with this.
Questions, Mr. Ambrose?
Entertainment. What kind of stuff do you have?
I don't think they want you guys to talk.
Mr. Chetty? Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Excuse me, ma'am. Good evening.
First, I'm sorry about my voice, I'm losing it. But it's been a couple weeks since I was here speaking to you. I just wanted to kind of follow up about what I talked to you about before. I'd spoken to you about some issues we were having on South River Street, and I just wanted to let you know that the day after I came to speak, we did have contact from the police chief. She called the house and spoke to us, apologizing for not being at the meeting, saying that she heard our concerns, and there was also police and the health department, code enforcement, and everything came around to all those properties. So that was very nice to say something and have people listen to it for a change. I mean, prior to that, it had been months of me kind of speaking and being told by the police that they're not going to do anything, and the police chief and the mayor and everyone. So I just wanted to say thank you for your support, and also to the police chief, and she's not here, but to pass that message along to her that it was appreciated that she kind of made some efforts to go in a positive direction with that. Hopefully the support is continued. It's been kind of quiet in our area. Something that I had spoken about a few months ago that has kind of come up again recently though is, I mentioned to you guys, and I know to the police and things like that, that the belief of the Wilkes students in that area was that the police were owned by the university and that they could do whatever they wanted to. And with the incident that happened, I'm not sure when it was, a few days ago, with like the BB gun that was being shot off on South River and South Ross, it kind of seemed like that point was being proven, that they felt like there was no consequences for them. The Wilkes students shooting at the cars and then police car and things like that. So I just wanted to kind of bring up that incident and also point out that even though at that time Wilkes Security did intervene and they were the ones that called the police and they were on the scene at that time, it still wasn't mentioned in the newspapers that it was Wilkes students. There wasn't really any accountability for the university about that incident. And the names that were given by the people involved, even though they were being cited and things like that, the names that were printed in the newspaper were not correct names. So I mean, there was a little bit of accountability, but not really. It wasn't tied to the university. People's names weren't mentioned. It was still like, they still kind of got away with it, it seems. And I don't know if it's possible also that I don't know if there's a way to, if Wilkes students, I mean, they're in the area to attend the university. Like that's the reason they're here. If Wilkes students are being cited or if they're being arrested or anything like that, I don't know if there's a way to find the university, kind of hold them a little bit more accountable for their students. I mean, it seems like they're kind of trying, but there's not really any incentive for them to kind of step off their campus. So that was just my thought. Again, things have been quiet in our area, but that was just something to think about.
Samantha, have you met with the head of security at Wilkes?
I talked to him back when we were having the issues, and he said to me that there wasn't really anything he could do, and that I would just have to call the police. He was not helpful at all. And every time I talked to Gretchen Unius at Wilkes, she pushes me in his direction, even though I say to her, talk to him, and he said he's not going to do anything. So it's kind of like going around in circles there.
I'll arrange a meeting with you.
Okay. I spoke with Gretchen Uninis regarding the issue, and she stressed that Wilkes does do some form of academic discipline or some sort of disciplinary action, whether it be citing them or, something along those lines.
Yeah.
And she said at that point, since it is off-campus housing, it is really up to the police department.
I understand that.
And I spoke with Chief Lindacki, and she said that she's going to try and do everything in her power to make sure that the police enforce this, because at the end of the day, they really have the final say. They trump Wilkes Security in this instance also.
Yeah.
And I think when we start seeing the police enforcing what they're supposed to be enforcing with this property and with, not just with that property, but with anything dealing with off-campus housing, I think that's really when we'll start to see real results. So.
Yeah. I think it just, especially with this incident, it shows that the students don't care at all, that the police showed up and they continued shooting the pellet gun or whatever it was. Doesn't matter that it was a pellet gun, they were shooting at police officers, and that's ridiculous. And I mean, the fake names, they were printed on like the police Facebook page, which is fine, but to print the names in the newspaper, it just makes it like a joke.
Samantha, we're going to stop you there, but
No, it's fine.
these are all good points, and I believe they were charged.
Yeah, I know, I'm just saying, like, if it was a normal, like, a regular person, like, if I went out and shot BB guns, my name would be plastered everywhere, but no one knows who these people really were, so they're citing.
No one knows that they're college or university students.
That they're university students, or even, they used fake names when they brought them in, so that's
That
all.
certainly sounds like another charge to me.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
I would think, if that's the
That's
case.
what I would think, but that was all, thank you.
Thank you. Angel Mathis?
Good evening, Angel Mathis, Wilkes Barre.
Just as a side note, Greg, I'd like to thank the administration for the emergency I had at home and the great response of the police and the EMS, because they got to my house less than 8 minutes and we were absolutely on the job. But, tonight, first of all, I want to thank council for passing the, no smoking ordinance in the intermodal. The only question I have is when will signs go up? Because signs have not yet gone up. But the smoking has been reduced where you don't, when you go in, you don't smell smoke, you smell mostly the exhaust, but you still have some people who do insist on smoking. But it's a great majority less. And the second thing I wanted to speak on is bike paths. Because I know I've spoke about them in the past years. It's just that it's getting warm. And people will start riding their bikes more now so than in the winter. And a problem that I quite often have is actually getting hit by bicyclists on the sidewalk. So I have pictures that I can actually forward to you guys in email where Philadelphia, they actually have bike paths. And it works because, you know, we spend a lot of time in Philadelphia with the hospital, but it keeps a lot of the cyclists off the sidewalks. And it also lets the drivers know that they do have to share the road, which is also in the Pennsylvania Vehicle Code. And my last issue is one that's a little more pressing, because I know at one of the city council meetings, because I haven't been here as often as I would like, but when it was reading the awards that HUD gave, and it was mentioned that nothing was received for the homeless because nothing was spent in prior years for the homeless. That just got me thinking, because it's like we have a large homeless population here. And, you know, I asked this question last year and I got no answer whatsoever. Do we have an agency that actually works with the homeless to get them off the street? Because I know there's a population that really don't want to get off the street because they don't want anyone telling them how to spend their money, that they can't drink, that they can't use drugs, and, you know, that they have to be on a treatment plan. But there are people who are out there who are trying, but, you know, the fact that they're homeless doesn't help them at all. Is it a way that, because I know from Lincoln I got the answer that the city is ultimately responsible for the homeless, is there a way that, the city can find an agency that actually handles, you know, the homeless? And that way, you know, the next time a grant is actually applied for in HUD, you know, we'll get the funding. Because, you know, being part of aging, I understand that if you don't use the funds, they take them. And they don't reinstate them either.
It is my understanding that the CEO is the agency that handles most of the homeless issues for people, and I've had experience with people who are about to lose their house and they get emergency funding to stay in their house and pay their mortgage and rent. And there's also another program for people.
The supportive housing for the homeless.
Right, and
But
there's another program for people already.
they're based on what you guys get. They're based on government stipends, because I volunteered for CEO.
But that money doesn't go through us to CEO, directly right to CEO.
Angel, we have two agencies right now that I'm aware of. It's CDO and then Catholic Social Services. The city's part of the Luzerne County Homeless Coalition. So when the money comes in, the CEO and Catholic Social Services, they use the funds.
I do understand that.
So pretty much what happened is there was an excess of funds, they weren't able to use it, because not only is the city putting in towards these two, it's also Luzerne County who gets money from HUD. So they base it on the amount of usage. I can get you the exact numbers, I don't have them on me, but Kurt Sauer, he runs this program, and I know there's a lot of money that we put towards the homeless population. So Kurt Sauer in community development would be the right person.
Okay.
Get a couple slides, if you get a chance.
Yeah, I just looked.
Matthew Ford.
just like to thank council for removing that item from the agenda earlier. Definitely putting as many items out to bid, I think, would give us the best price and opportunity to get the best deal in pretty much every situation. And if council would indulge me, being that there wasn't just a proposal up here moments ago, if I may thank Mr. Ambrose here for being so transparent about his offer to the city, and I obviously am always pleased to see an open bidding process. But I do have a couple quick questions, if I may ask him one quick question.
Why don't you just ask the question?
Oh, okay, my question is he proposing that Waste Management take over both the delivery and the end location of the trash, or just the end location of the trash?
My understanding is speaking about the end location.
The end location.
My understanding.
Is that true?
Well, our company operates Alliance Landfill in Taylor, which is closer to Wilkes Barre than Dunmore, and I'm here tonight just to ask you to explore what public bidding might do for you in terms of saving you money on your disposal costs.
Thank you. Okay, and so with that being said, obviously I would be curious of that. I think, we have had a little bit of talks about privatizing some portions of city employees, and obviously I do support unions very strongly. So I do encourage the open bidding, but I would caution against, privatizing the collection of our garbage. I am also curious, as mentioned, that we are using Keystone Landfill right now, that contract has been expired for 4 years. So I am curious, what, or when is the better question, was that contract originally signed, and for what term length, and also was that a bidded process? And what actually came up here to speak about today was the pensions, and as a previous gentleman alluded, obviously the city has a lot of financial issues. One of those, being the pension fund. Seems like we are doing a pretty good job compared to other communities, but we always are looking to shore that up and get back to making a little bit more than the minimum obligations every cycle. One of those ways, so I was at an event, and there's a gentleman running for Attorney General named Josh Shapiro, and he's a commissioner down in, I believe, Montgomery County. The question was asked to him, what do we do about, pension issues? And he had brought up that one thing Montgomery County found was they were paying millions and millions of dollars in fees to have that money managed. What they did was they moved their money into the mutual funds, and supposedly they're getting a better return on their rate without the fees. Could be something that the city could be useful, so I would ask the council, maybe give a look into, see if it is a possibility. Obviously, a county is a different financial situation than a city, so the rules might be different, but any investigation that could save the city money, I think, would be appreciated, so that's all.
Pension funds, Greg, you can correct me if I'm wrong, or they may very well be, but they're managed by the individual pension boards. Controlled.
So they would have their own separate meetings?
Yes.
Do we know when those meetings meet?
We can certainly get.
Yeah, they're all advertised. Is it on our website?
I can give you a special request.
That'd be amazing, thank you. Yeah.
And on the item that was removed from the agenda, that was removed, I'm very happy about that, by the administration. They decided to revisit that, and we're thankful for that.
I thank the administration for that as well. And the last question about the contract with Keystone, do we know when that contract was signed?
I'm not familiar with it, I don't imagine anybody here right now is, we'll try to get that answer for you.
Much appreciated.
If somebody knows. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Mr. Sark, Frank Sark.
Good evening, Frank Sark. All right, just a few quick things. First off, I come before you again to thank council for just doing what you're doing, asking the questions, demanding that the mayor be here to answer the questions. And I see he'd rather pay $2,000 a month in service fees than come before you. So that speaks volumes to me. What also speaks volumes to me is that some residents are asking for cuts, others are asking for you to open bidding so that they could present plans to save the city money. What these residents don't understand, and I'm disheartened to have to be the one to tell them, is that this administration, far worse than the last, wants to reward campaign contributors, and unless you're a campaign contributor, you're obviously not getting a contract within the city of Wilkes Barre. So unless you have a buddy on the board of directors at a bank, or maybe a buddy as the vice president, you're probably not going to get that contract either, but the open bid process is greatly appreciated. Some of the cuts, 52,000 for Mayor's Helpline voicemail is free these days. We could certainly utilize that. We could launch an interactive smartphone app, as I touted during the campaign. Chicago's doing it, and they've seen miraculous results. And if it works in Chicago, trust me, it'll work anywhere. I don't know why we're not launching that app here in Wilkes Barre, where people could see a problem, snap a picture, it would immediately route to the city, it would avoid phone calls, it would avoid resident frustration, and it would be routed to the direct department. They would immediately have a photo and a geotag location of where that problem is, and they could get out there and get it done. Again, it's working in Chicago. Why not here in Wilkes Barre? I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just looking to other municipalities and saying, if it works there, why can't we do it here? And it's a low-cost solution. It will cost less than $52,000 a year, and we can send that person back to an income-generating department where she was prior, and then we can see some, true cleanup and results here in the city. I thank you for your time.
We will. I think that is the way to go. I know some of you are including using smartphones, and I may be, but I also totally agree with that, and we should take advantage of technology out there and use it for those purposes. But we'll look into that, and if anybody else wants to look into it, well, I'm looking at you because you seem to be very involved in it. Bob Catalowski? Good evening.
Hello, Bill. How are you? I'll calm down for a minute. Bob Kalabowski. I just wanted to touch base on a few things. First of all, I'm glad that we took the proposal for the bank off the agenda. The idea with First National Community, they're a real good bank. I think that was a good idea to pull it out and let the bid process, let these people come in. And I think we should try to get Citizens Bank to come in to find out what they did wrong, try to get that straightened out. And also, with this ambulance contract, what I want to know, I guess Mr. Group probably have to answer this, I want to know why there's no kickbacks to the city. I want to know why it's not put out like they did with the towing, where you charge the people what you want. You follow me? In other words, you charge them for everything. You charge them for absorbing, you charge them for winching, you charge them for moving the car, you charge them for opening up the gate, you charge a service charge for this, charge a service charge for that. Why aren't we doing that? Like, let's just say Mr. Belushko has a massive heart attack. Okay? Now, they rush him out of here. Why not charge him, let him charge him what they want? And what I brought up before was, once he gets back from the hospital and he's all cured, and he has a massive heart attack, when he gets a bill, you double up. Because I want to know why the ambulance company wasn't made to give a kickback to the city. And just so the attorney, so you understand what I'm talking about. What you do is, you tell them, just charge rates, charge like an ongoing rate, industry standards. You charge what you want. Charge what you want. Where I used to charge 70 and 75, when I was doing it, charge $500. They used to charge $75 to open up the gate, where I used to charge $75 to tow the car. So I want to know why why the ambulance company is not kicking back to the city. It's the same type of contract. It's a professional service. I want to know why they're not kicking back. Why don't we squeeze the life out of them? And in return, they squeeze the life out of our citizens. Like was gone on here for the last, going into the 13th year now. I want to know why they don't have to make a kickback. And with the garbage, what I want to find out too is if this proposal means them picking it up at the curb and eliminating completely our cost with our employees. In other words, is that what that's going to be about? And just so you understand, make sure you do your campaign contributions. Now, it has nothing to do with you getting it, but that's what this new administration is doing, just like the old administration. It has nothing to do with it, but it does have something to do with it, but it doesn't have nothing to do with it. And I hope the scouts follow this. It has nothing to do with it, but it does have something to do with it. I'm not trying to get off track. I'm just trying to make my point because it's good. Okay, and also I would like to ask council to find out why the administration, I put complaints in, and they don't give me in writing what they did about it. I put a complaint in about Carol Smith being a complaint person, getting $70,000 a year to answer the phone. I put a complaint in against her, and I never got a complaint, or I never got a response on my complaint. So I'd like to I'm putting a complaint in about them not answering my complaints, if that makes sense. And also, Mr. Trimble, who I complained about hanging around at the city garage, now they hired him to work at the golf course, and I did put a complaint into the complaint lady who makes $70,000 a year. I still don't hear back on that one, but I did talk to Mr. Ferrari, and I'd like maybe he could inform us of what's going on. Because how did Mr. Trimble go from working part-time at the golf course to dispatching trucks a week ago Monday? That's a union job. How is he in there? He's scabbing out. He's taking work off a city employee. Why is he there doing that? And it's nothing personal against him, but it's not right. I want to know what's going to be done about that. That's why I'm here. I want to know what you're going to do. And also, this administration, I'm actually shocked that this was the administration that basically the citizens put in. It's actually worse than the last. It's worse than the last to see what's going on here with the stuff they're trying to pull. I think it's an embarrassment. Everywhere I go, I have people. I go down to St. Al's Church to a piggy dinner. People are attacking. What's going on? I don't know what's going on. I'm not Vito Corleone. I don't know what they're doing to this new mafia that's here. And also, can we get a water cooler out there? There's no water.
We'll drive there too.
I know, we'll do that.
We discussed the ambulance situation at great length a month or so ago. I think it was very clear where this council stands with that particular issue. We have all the respect that you do for the paramedics and the people that do provide that service when one of us does have a problem, or you or anyone else for that matter. So as far as privatizing that, I think we've made that very clear with that. So, we're just going to have to monitor that, and we have answers for some of your other immediate concerns. I don't know if anybody cares for that.
Mr. Brew, could you stand up? Can you explain to council why we didn't get a kickback like we do from the tone?
Mr. Brook does not have to stand up and
Well, I mean, just so you know, when I'm asking them to stand up, I'm not trying to be smart, but when these citizens are here, to sit there like this, you stand up and say, this is who I am. And I'm not being smart. Why didn't we get a kickback from the ambulance company? I want an answer.
The ambulance company, that's still being looked at, I understand, so.
Yeah, but
right now, the current,
isn't the contract, did they execute the contract on the 15th?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Greg, has the contract been executed?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, can you look into that? Are we gonna get a kickback?
Okay.
So you mean, in other words, it can't go through yet? Oh, good, then we're gaining ground.
Thank you, bud.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How did I do tonight?
You haven't get escorted out, you did good.
Show the staff what you can do.
Sam Troy, once, twice. I don't think we missed anybody then, right? Sounds like I did last time. Okay. Motion to adjourn? Thank you.